Hey guys, it's Matt. Let's all thank that creep Anthony Kiedis of the Red Hot Chili Peppers for inspiring the next chart. I've got a chart that maybe moves us beyond the reality map. The reality map is like what is going on in this reality system, no matter how much like the Truman Show or the Matrix you believe it to be. You know, most of you agree that's generally what's going on, the reality map, the screen trying to get in, the screen trying to focus your natural energy, attention, and power. And I was going through my old, just to give you a little background as to, I'm going to show you the chart coming up, and it's so bad as usual. My drawing abilities are absolutely horrible. In the old days, you would have, I don't know, anybody over 40 remembers there'd be like a comic book or a kid's magazine. It would say, "Do you have aptitude to draw? Draw this turtle or this turtle head." If I'm remembering right, if you draw it and sketch it and you'd send it into like the art institute to see if you have some sort of drawing aptitude. Well, I think mine, I end up trying to mimic the turtle head. It ended up looking like a stick figure playing with itself. I didn't send it into the art institute, but I have no aptitude whatsoever. And if this has merit, if this takes us beyond the reality map, it's basically just an X and Y graph, a chart. If it's all of reality in a chart, if that's even possible, maybe somebody could help me out with this one. The way I'm very thankful, someone who said they don't want to be named helped me out with the last one and did a great job. And a lot of people have emailed me, and I've emailed them out the reality map. So let's try to take it to the next level, if you agree with my chart. Okay, why am I showing the album cover? It's a little bit different. I guess somebody imposed the lyrics on it of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, blood, sugar, sex, magic. Like they came up with that when they were 20 years old, or yeah, it's so absurd now that we can see through this stuff. How there's no way these kids would keep coming up with these occult concepts. I mean, they're just purely puppets. I think Anthony Kiedis has been to a bunch of eyes wide shut parties at this point. He's one of these creepy blokes. He knows probably knows what's going on now, and he's stuck in that condo under the dragon's wing. But at the time of this, I mean, these guys have no idea, what they're doing. But I'm going through all my old CDs. I'm in this major purge everything out. It's just kind of a I don't know. I want to drop all my chains, so I'm doing it physically too. Anything in the house that I haven't touched that for 2 years just goes out or goes to the Goodwill. I'm in this major purge thing, and I have all these old CDs, and I even had the Best of Chicago Part 2, like 1982 to 80. It's horrible. It doesn't have, does anybody know what time it is? It's just all the Peter Cetera crap. I threw that out. Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion 1 is horrible. 2 is decent. Threw that out. So I pull out the Red Hot Chili Peppers and I play it in the background, doing whatever. And then of course it comes on, and we see things totally different now. It's give it away, give it away, give it away now, give it away, give it away. And I'm like, oh, come on. These messages to us, like the stuff, the retrocausality language, as Vanessa VA coined it. I'm like, give away your power. Give it away. That's the way I interpreted it, and that's what led to this video. Give it away, give it away, give it away now. Now, just to have a little variety in the image, I'm showing the incredible group Swing Out Sister. I've talked about that breakout song as being some sort of potential, retrocausality message, which I believe if you look into the band, and I mentioned a few videos back. By the way, guys, if when you watch one of my quote videos and it doesn't actually start with a video, and you don't need to see anything here as usual. I mean, if it's not a video with people moving around, I can't use hardly any images. They're always thumbnails. Is no, you can be driving. You don't have to see anything. Even the chart coming up, I'll walk you through, because even those who can see it, I mean, it's so badly drawn out, you're not going to be able to really understand it anyway. Of course, you don't need to see, unless it's a video. So sorry about that. So then you look into, okay, Breakout, and I mentioned a few videos back. Then it immediately leads me to Twilight World. The song comes up. Don't be fooled by love songs and lonely hearts or something. You're living, she says, you're living in a twilight world. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm excited about getting, these messages, but I say, come on, like, these messages are everywhere. What Vanessa VA calls the retrocausality language. These messages are everywhere. It gives away the nature of reality itself. We'll talk about that later when the chart comes up. So, then immediately I'm listening to this lyric, you're living in a twilight world, and then that immediately I jumped to the Gladiator movie I saw the other day. What did he say? Maximus, shadows and dust. That's all we are, shadows and dust. Messages constantly, but there's two ways. Bootsy here is trying to get my attention. I apologize. So when I say, come on, I don't mean like I'm excited about getting these messages, but I guess the come on is like, oh man, they've always been here and we miss this throughout our entire lives. And, how could we be expected? I was a child of the Matrix, like most people listening to this. So I guess it's just incredible how it's all over the place. And for so many years, we missed it. And then you look into it further and you find the swing out sister lady with the winking of see the winking and the one eye covering, and again they have no idea what they're presenting, what they presented in the late 80s or the early 90s. Breakout could have a spiritual meaning. These people have no idea. And it's kind of funny. I found when I was looking at Twilight World, and we'll get off the Swing Out Sister in just a second. We'll get to the chart, although this band is probably very interesting to the trans Pok Pok, the army that believes every single female in Hollywood is something else. Oh, they're gonna love the lead. They'll love the lead singer of this band. The deep voice. She's about 6 feet. Oh, they're gonna love her. The T-Ak army. But hey, I mean, they're probably right in this case. But I think they take it a little too far. But where was I going with that? So one thing always, it just weaves in and leads to the next, and even going back to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Let me just end with that before we get to the chart, because the chart, the X and Y axis chart that's coming up is called, I have quote from the Chili Peppers: "Give it away, give it away, give it away." Now the entire reality system is out to get you to give away your power. It's that simple. The entire reality here is out to get you to freely give away your power. And then I looked at the lyrics, and they're all over the place. A lot of mumbo jumbo with the Chili Peppers. Not every line is going to be some direct occult message. It's one line in there is, "I can't tell if I'm a kingpin or a pauper." I mean, there are some things that go along with the general theme of how I was looking at give it away, give it away. Now, then I looked at how many times it was said. It's said 3 times in a row. Give it away now. 3 times in a row. 3 times 3. I mean, it's to me, it's all by design. You don't call an album Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic unless there's shit like this in there. And the dark creeps take out what they want to take out, and the good messages have to be embedded. So we'll take out messages that we can use. It's always like this now. So, again, it was the Chili Peppers that got me to start drawing this chart, and then I'm like, it could be. I'll show you the chart in just a second. It could be this simple. So you guys tell me if I'm right or wrong in the comments. And wait till you see how horrible my drawing ability is again. Okay, here's the first presentation of the chart. Let's get the laughter out of the way. Go ahead, get it out, laugh. It is that bad. It's better if you're just driving and you can't see it. I'll talk you through everything anyway, and some of the small print you can't see anyway. So it's just your classic x-axis, y-axis. X-axis, usually that is the horizontal, and y-axis going up. Your standard chart of like debt over time. Time is the x-axis. Just your standard 90-degree chart or graph. So debt over time, it'll show 1900 whatever, and then it goes up and up and up and up, and as time goes on, the line goes up and up and up. It's just one of those. If you're not watching, it's this simple. But I've used power as the y-axis going up, and then the 90-degree angle forms, and then time for the x-axis. Power going up over time. Now, I don't want to use time here, but it's about a measure of what we do in our lifetime, and time does not apply before we came in here, and time doesn't apply after, but I have no other way of showing it. The basic theme of this is very simple, extremely simple. It's if everybody here, no matter what their religious belief, we believe that the Big Bang is, of course, ridiculous. Everything they say about Darwinism is ridiculous, and it's not even a belief. I mean, that's just 100%. We were something before coming in here. We agreed to come in here. We probably very powerful being. This is some sort of experience or learning experience or test or whatever it is where, it takes a lot of balls to come into a situation where you really have no idea how powerful you were. And even if you completely realize it, there's still incredible limitations here. What am I supposed to do? Just understand I'm Superman and just fly up into the stratosphere and threaten Kim Jong-un? I mean, no matter how powerful or what you understand yourself to be, remembering who you really are, you're still limited times a billion in this body. I get up out of bed in the morning, like my back hurts, my knee hurts. There's only so much we're going to be able to do here. So the chart is the power is extremely high before your birth. And then at the time of birth, it drops down to almost nothing. And then it slowly starts to go up as you gain, nothing in terms of what you were spiritually before you came in to the body. And then it goes up, you gain confidence as a young, in my case, a young man. I mean, the TPOC army might question that, but I'm being honest. As a young man, you gain confidence, and then you get a career, and it's false power, but your power is kind of going up. All right, as you go through your life. But here's the key to the whole chart. You have again y-axis going up, power, and off to going down to the right, x-axis over time. About a third of the way up, there's a dotted line. I called it here breakaway threshold. Threshold to win, it would be. It would kind of like be if you're just driving, it's hard to picture what this is. Debt over time. If the debt, as the line goes up, if it crosses a certain point, then the U.S. economy implodes. Obviously, we know how fake everything is, and that should apply. It doesn't, but you understand it would be if it crosses a critical point. And the idea is to get your power, your understanding of who you are, to cross a critical point during one's lifetime that I call the breakaway. Give me a minute to explain this. It's people like, what the hell is he talking about? To cross a critical point, breakaway threshold, or win, or whatever you needed to do in your life, or in this, quote, reality system. So why I think it works this way is because the entire reality is geared, as we observe it, from top to bottom, to keep your power at an absolute minimum. So again, super powerful, all the way up at the top, then at birth, you drop all the way down below the line. You gain some confidence, gain some power, but it's all false power. You think you're the shit because you have a $450 Audi or Mercedes lease. And all the bull crap, it's false power. What it really is spiritually, for most people, that dotted line just stays close to the bottom. It doesn't get anywhere near the breakaway threshold. And as I've described the dotted line that stays close to the bottom, I've labeled it with things like mainstream. Everything the mainstream tells you, what the definition of success is in this society. There's no spiritual power. It keeps you hovering way below the breakaway threshold, or the threshold to win, or the threshold where you get out of here, or the threshold where, from a Buddhist perspective, you don't come back. That's what there's one dotted line that starts to go up and up and up, and crosses over the breakaway threshold. And I believe that is the path we are on now. Okay, if you're not getting it, that's okay. I mean, I had to give the basic overview to see if you want to stick with the rest of this video. That'll probably be pretty long. But we'll just back up and start at the absolute basics for those that want to take a little bit of time with me here. Okay, let me do this more like an argument for those rolling their eyes. Like, what is this horse shit? Okay, what's horse shit? Let me make an argument then, all right? And you have to start at the absolute basics. Okay, we're going to start by just get a sense of your inner knowing, okay? What does your gut tell you? What does your inner knowing tell you? We're going to start with a question. And you can also, when your inner knowing has had its say, then bring your conscious, logical thought into it. But the question to start here is simple. Looking back, say you're not an atheist, a Stephen Hawking atheist, and you really believe you will be something after this train stop existence, as we all do. So whatever form you're in, looking back, whatever this was, or in terms of what we were here to do, or, quote, figuring it out, or figuring out ourselves, does your inner knowing tell you that looking back, it would have been simple, where you'd say, oh, that's what it was? That's all I had to do? What does your inner knowing tell you? Will it have been simple, the key, or will it be incredibly complicated? That you had to read all these books, and then you had to do this, and then if you would have paid attention to the Bardos or the Tibetan Book of the Dead, this is how you navigate when all the demons come at you, and then looking back, do you think it's like a combination lock, or not like a gym combination lock? We forgot that in high school. Like, I can't get my gym shorts out of here. It's like three numbers, two turn, or like a combination lock where there's like 50 turns. Do you think that's what this life is? It's so complicated? Or do you think it will be, what does your inner knowing say? The answer will be incredibly simple. Now I'm pausing. I'll pause for another few seconds. Just let your inner knowing talk to you. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I have to tell you what I think to let the video go on. This is why those in this community that present it as so complicated, I don't like the term, but every fiber in my being, I don't like it. Every fiber in my being tells me that it's just simple. That on the day of my death, the day of our life, as whatever form we are in or connection to whatever, just say, oh, that's what it was? Oh, okay. Oh, gosh, so simple. And I believe that with every fiber in my being. No doubt about that to me. That's where there are so many really smart people on YouTube and different formats presenting, but it's just so complicated. And I'm just going, no, as smart as these people are, no way. Well, Matt, you're just saying it's going to be simple because you can't understand. If it is complicated, you're too dumb to understand it. If you think I'm just saying this to make myself feel better, fine. But no, it is going to be so simple. That's why we go from the book of cataloging the fraud is now like 700 and some pages, and that's what I thought the Truth Pursuit was, and now we have it to like what I call the half page. You have to be able to throw out all that nonsense. Then putting into the reality map, that's one page, but that's not nearly as simple as this. The reality map was kind of understanding the reality system and how from the screen it tries to put its sticky fingers. Hey, look over here. Come look over here. Yeah, follow me. And yeah, get involved in this. And get involved in this ridiculous truth pursuit over here. This throws the reality map out and says that's too complicated. It's literally this simple. So the question to start with, do you believe it will have been complicated, what you're supposed to do here, or simple? And I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I think most people would agree. Yeah, your inner knowing screams simple. This means every truther that tries to talk to you as to how complicated it is, if you believe what I'm saying and this resonates with you, throw it out. Because the whole point of that is just another reality system distraction to keep you below your breakaway threshold. Your swing out sister, break out. Da, 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 da. Okay, back to the Chili Peppers and how one thing led to the next to create this graph. So I'm listening to it. Give it away, give it away, give it away. Now, he's talking about a reality system that's designed to give away your power. If you interview Anthony Kiedis, is that what it was supposed to be? He would say no. He wouldn't have a clue as to what I'm talking about. So Matt, what he's talking about in his song more than he does. That is beyond lunacy. Those that understand, what, Vanessa VA is saying about the retrocausality language and things that can come through to us that the artists and even the creeps that, produced it don't even understand. It can happen, right? We don't have time to dive into that now. So I'm like, so usually here's how you can confirm if you hear something in a song, and the way to confirm it is to just look at it for a few minutes or do a Wikipedia. Something will come out that kind of proves you're on the right path. So back to the dumb swing out sister again. Break out. Okay, I thought, if there's anything to this, there'll be something very, very quickly in research that shows I'm on the right path. And then immediately comes out, the second song that comes to my attention, you're living in a twilight world. Okay, that's all I need to see. The same with the Chili Peppers. So I look just for a minute at this song, Give It Away, Give It Away. Now, if that's even what it's called, you know the song. And then I find out that when it was released as a single, the B-side, they don't have this anymore. Anybody under age 35 doesn't know what the F I'm talking about. They used to put it out as a single, and then I think they still made like a little record. They called it a B-side. A 45 little record would have another song on the other side. And the B-side is Soul to Squeeze. Now, I don't even think that song is on Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, and a Side of Pancakes. I don't even think it's on there. I've never heard of Soul to Squeeze, but I'm not a huge Chili Peppers fan. I like some of their stuff, but it's all you need to see. I said that's all I need to see. So I get a sense as to what it potentially is being said here. Do a tiny little bit of research, and what you sense will be immediately confirmed by something in just a minute or 2 or 5 minutes of research. Wikipedia. It might have been 30 seconds. The B-side, Soul to Squeeze. Okay, then that's all I need to see. Then my interpretation is correct. At least this is the message that's coming to me, people like you, people like us on a spiritual journey. Anthony Kiedis wouldn't know what the F we're even talking about. People know that they wouldn't. That's the beauty of it. So, okay. So then I'm like, yeah, give it away now. The entire reality system, it's like a game. Okay, it's designed to your power is very, very high. You're born. You come in as a very low life form. I don't know what to call this. We have aches and pains and issues and problems, and we sit on the pot. And this is a low realm. But it's a soul having an experience, or an aspect of your higher self having an experience, however you interpret it, or whatever your religious beliefs are. We can all agree here on some of these common themes. So then you look around, and you gotta get a pass. I've kind of put birth to age 21 there, that little bracket. You get a pass. You're not supposed to have any great spiritual strides in that little bracket there above the I in time. I think there's even something in the Bible that says if a little child dies, it goes, it wins, it goes directly to heaven. It's like a pass. Nothing could be accomplished spiritually in that age keeps, failure to launch. The age keeps going up and up and up, and even most 40-year-old men today are complete children. But that's like a pass. It's like, that we didn't, you're not expected to do anything. Maybe you start over. Who knows? Go back to go. Do not pass go and Monopoly board. But then after that, from age 21 to your death, the entire reality, think about this. I guarantee there's nobody listening to this that's going to disagree with this. Now, that's a bold statement, but the entire reality system and its minions and its systems and its Hollywood and its media and its social media and its news, it's designed to keep your power at the absolute lowest levels. It's designed, the entire system is designed to keep you from not understanding your power, which to me is, again, I'm not going to get the sun isn't gonna invade me like Jor-El of Superman. I'm just going to fly up and be able to move trains up into the air. But the power is more about just understanding who you really are and attaching or associating to the right things. So I'm an observer of reality. I just observe for 10 years. Yeah, all this is designed to do is keep you to think you're nothing. All this is designed to do is to keep your power down. All this system is designed to do to think so you think you're nothing, or worse than that. You believe you're something, but it's a false something. It's a faux something. It's look at my new home and my BMW lease. That's even worse, because it's better to if somebody's a loser and they believe they're a loser. That's bad too. But to believe you're something based on nothing, based on false standards as to what is success, that's even more worse. That's even more worse. That's even sicker, if you know what I mean. So if the entire reality is out to do that, well, what's it doing that for? Well, we have to reach a certain breakaway threshold to win, to beat it. It's a Duke and Duke. The entire reality system is a Duke and Duke $1 bet. It is to me. Well, let me see if I can convince you of that. Take a break, get a sip of water here. Okay, this kind of brings in the no consequences debate again, but I don't think we ever had that debate properly. So there's a third level to the consequences, no consequences debate. So, guys, I'm coming around a little bit. I kind of see the point of some of these people's arguments, but it's like it does seem like there's consequence for not living living the right way, or taking the fruit, or wasting your life. But again, the no consequences people come along and say, Matt, listen. You even in your chart, you're saying you're part of something that always has been, always will be. You would never get into a situation where you could just give your soul away to the abyss. You would have never agreed to come in here. Your higher self would have never sent you. There's no spiritual consequences whatsoever. They don't believe there's any spiritual consequence or soul consequence at all. If you even go jabba dabba do, any of that, But there is a third aspect to that. It's okay, maybe in a way they're right, and there's the Pope says bad souls that just go to the abyss. You can't completely destroy your spiritual nature. That you would have never come in here. Your higher self would have never sent you in here. Whatever your belief set is, maybe that is right, but what are you doing here? In other words, you might be completely protected spiritually, but there could still be a subset consequence, like associated with the chart here, that if you don't do what you need to do here to cross the breakaway threshold, then you go back and do it again. Reincarnation, recycling. You're still protected. See, there's that middle ground. You're still protected spiritually. Nothing will ever be able to, from the no consequences people, nothing will be able to erode or take your ultimate connection to spirit. It cannot be cut off. But there's just, what's this whole thing for then? See, there's like a middle ground. Well, okay, well, you didn't do anything here. You didn't learn anything here. You go back and do it again. You didn't reach the breakaway threshold. So in a way, there's like that middle ground between, the ultimate consequence would be the Christian perspective of, if you don't live your life right, you could be cast to hell and Hades, and that's the ultimate consequence, versus others on the other side that say you would have never agreed to come in here as a spiritual being if the consequence was just was that large. But what about the third? Why isn't there a middle ground? Why is it so one or the other? Why isn't it that, well, maybe the no consequences people are right, that your essence cannot be destroyed ever by these creeps. But you didn't do anything right here. You just ran around getting a new Volvo lease. That's all you cared about. Just trivial stuff, and just did nothing, didn't help anybody, didn't go out of your way for anybody. What do you do? So if there was no consequence, what are you even doing in here? Wouldn't a middle of the road consequence be like, well, you in some way you need to do it again, and I don't. Maybe there are other middle of the road consequences other than just reincarnation, or not swing out sister being able to break out. But you know what I'm saying. So that has to come in to play again. But from my perspective, why I believe at least the middle consequence exists, you say to yourself, and what does your inner knowing tell you? What is why the entire everybody would agree with this. The entire reality system is out to hide you from knowing yourself. It's every single aspect of it is about getting you to believe and putting stock into status symbols and materialism and things that don't mean anything and following things that don't mean anything. And that's a huge part of the deception that's laid down in the truth community. So I think it literally all comes down to just gaining power, which is again not Superman power where you can just walk out into traffic and stop a truck with one hand, but spiritual power, and is an understanding of who you really are, and an understanding that it's cutting ties with this place. It's not coveting it or attaching to it. That's part of it as well. So for a few of us, the dot line goes up and up and up and up and crosses way over that breakaway threshold. But if for those that don't believe in the general concept that I'm laying out here, why is the entire reality system designed from A to Z to get you to believe in the wrong things, follow the wrong path? Kevin Costner in the beginning of Dances with Wolves versus finally finding the path of a real human being at the end of Dances with Wolves. Tom Cruise at the beginning of The Last Samurai, drunk, doing rifle demonstrations, death rifle demonstrations, drunk off his ass, didn't give a shit about anything. At the end of the movie, completely the spiritual path. Yakamura, whatever, says, "Can I offer you whiskey?" No, no, thank you. He won't even take the whiskey. But there is Captain Ogren. He won't. Can I offer you whiskey? No. No, I don't want that. I'm now on the path of a real human being. What is the whole system doing that to us for if this chart isn't correct? Okay, let me just describe the dotted lines one last time on the X and Y axis. At birth, power is at absolute zero. You have no Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind kid. You have no idea who you are. Know nothing. Although some smart people, they actually remember their soul going into the body at like age 1 or so, and I believe them. But for most of us, that's of course not the experience we have. Let's just keep it simple. Power is at zero. It starts to go up and up a little bit, but then it completely levels out at age 21. Pursue the wrong things, pursue the wrong job, think status is just about how much of a expensive Cartier watch you can afford, your standards of success, all the wrong things, and then as 20s, 30s, for most of us, you're leveling out. You're not even close to your breakaway threshold. The system is implanted you with false ideas, false sense of self. But then, for most people, sometimes people can wake up a little bit earlier. Here, I'm assuming it might be about age 40 or so. Then, you start to finally get on the right path, or what Dances with Wolves called, we don't like the word human being. It's a system word. It's a limiting word. If you probably, that could be one of the main governors or limitations to not getting through the breakaway threshold. If you completely associate with yourself calling human being, then that might be a huge factor to stay under the breakaway threshold. If you completely attach and associate with the legal fiction, then that's a huge way for them to keep your dotted line under the breakaway threshold. I think it's cumulative. It's cumulative. If you believe all you are is first name caps, last name caps on a driver's license, and you operate through it, and you don't have any understanding of the legal fiction or straw man, then it's keeping you that dotted line level below the breakaway threshold. I think it's cumulative. If you take the power away from it, what's the song? Take the power back. How about Snap or I've Got the Power? Well, it was a good song, but all of a sudden, out of the blue, the biggest dance song of all time in the 90s, I've got the power. It's all related to our spiritual journey here. So if you take, I'm coming out of the driver's center. Last time I got my license, and I said, okay, I need to do this because it's a new license. I need this thing to drive, which I need to go down and get food with it, but this is not me, okay? Well, you can just declare that? Yes. If you realize it and declare it and remove the power from it, remove the magic from it, well, how else do we win here? Yes, just simply declare it. I need to use this thing, but this is not who I am. Then I think your dotted line jumps up a little tiny bit towards the breakaway threshold, where somebody like, I even wrote on this, the one that goes just way down towards the bottom. I wrote my father. I did. I'm not trying to doom him or whatever. I hope he wakes up a bit. But to him, everything we have to say in this community is complete lunacy to him. All life is simply about everything the mainstream says, what the news says, the latest movie, or and even I guess my father's line goes up and then it goes down even, because I told you a few weeks back, I asked him about his beliefs at death, and he said, probably we just go to nothing, which is probably just, he's not religious. It's like just probably nothingness. I mean, what you want to talk about the highest degree of giving away your power, understanding of who you really are. He's like, I think we go to nothingness. Now I'll try to talk to him, but he doesn't listen to me. See, that's why these creeps at some level probably knew this certain level of understanding would come to us. And these creeps are evil genius creeps. And they said, well, what do we do if these guys get close to the answer? And I'd never, ever even be arrogant to say I have an answer or anything like that. When we get close, we sniff it out. We'll put it that way. I said, well, we'll belittle them for 20 years. We'll get them, we'll actually create some of this conspiracy simply to get them involved in it. We'll plant all the pissed on breadcrumbs, and then we'll simply belittle them. They'll talk to all their friends and family so many years and so many decades about all this conspiracy that's legitimate that we gave to them, that see, when they start really talking about the important things, about spiritual self, life after death, beating the system, beating the Duke and Duke $1 bet game that's being played here, at that point we will have belittled them so heavily, so nastily, nobody will believe a damn thing as to what they say. They probably put all their think tanks to work and their Jonathan Gruber breakout sessions. Remember that creep, Jonathan Gruber? Matt, he leaked about Obama. He didn't leak. He leaked about Obamacare, saying the American public needs to be stupid so political gains can be made. And he didn't leak anything. Every bit of it is by design. It's how this reality system works. If I hear one more time about the KGB agent Yuri whatever, warning of how you demoralize a population, he might be right about it, but this guy, this altruistic guy who was ex-KGB, he didn't come out and warning people about anything. People don't get this in this. Most of you guys get this, but in this general truth community, it's so lost. Yuri, he didn't leak anything. It's exactly whatever Yuri Gagarin said. It's exactly what the system wanted to get out, for whatever the reason is, whatever power they derive from the revelation of the method. I saw something the other day. Do I believe the moon is what they say? Of course not. Nobody can go land and jump around on it like those things you jump around on at Chuck E. Cheese. Nobody can go do that. That's what Chuck E. Cheese, what I just said. The whole reason they have these legends and lures, the moon is made of cheese, the whole reason those sayings exist through time is to tell you that it's not what they say it is. That's the reason for the moon is made of cheese. That where did that come from? Because they have to tell you it's not what they say. That's all that's for. That's all what these nursery rhymes are for. But that guy, he was used in a video I saw recently. We've saw him. He comes out in the 50s, the scientist, and he said the moon is plasma. You know what? It might be. It probably is. It's nothing like what they say it is. But don't think for a second that there's really some professor guy who in a black and white interview said, I've proved it's plasma. Nobody can land on it. Don't think for a second it's a guy that's just looking out for us. It's there, and if the truth community has their hands on it, then we were meant to have our hands on it. It's that simple. Nobody leaks anything. The Christians would say this is Satan's world and kingdom. If you want to put it that way, this is their world and kingdom. Nobody leaks anything on social media. Everything. They're that perfect in their control? Basically, yeah. So you have to say, what's being said here? That doesn't mean there's no truth in what's being said. There could be a ton of truth. But how is it meant to throw me off down the road or down the line? Or, okay, Alex Jones, tons and tons of truth, years and years and years. But truth never about understanding yourself, understanding the nature of the fraud here, which is... for them, you would say for them dangerous because that can lead. That's that my path of truth through bang 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 chitty. We'll call it chitty chitty bang bang events. We'll call them chitty 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 bang bang events. That was my path of truth, and it plays a dangerous game because it wants you on that farm forever. But then people like me, people like you can move. Few of us will move beyond that pen. We'll graduate out of that graduated animal farm. We'll escape that level of that sick movie, the Platform, where the food comes down or whatever. That is a weird-ass movie, The Platform. Check that out, where the food comes down and everybody eats off the same platform until you get the food goes down to like level 50 and there's nothing there but chicken bones. There ain't nothing left to eat. I don't think it's on Netflix or Prime or something called The Platform. That is a weird-ass, creepy movie. But... so it plays a dangerous game. It wants us just saying, "Oh yeah, who are the Rothschilds and what are these what is Tavistock?" And as long as we stay at that level, it seems like incredible truth, but it's keeping not in any sense is it telling us about ourselves, which gets back to that section of the. I'll get back to this wonderful graph here and talk about this section that relates to what we're talking about here. Okay, this is another save you 10 years, or save all of us 10 years. I went through the 10 years, so you don't have to. Let's put it that way. You see, if you're driving or something, don't bother with this. The dotted line for those on the spiritual path goes up and up and up and breaks through that breakaway threshold. And somebody might be saying, well, what does that mean? On the right, it says PF, pass fail, breakaway threshold. It just means that there's no power in this entire reality or beyond this reality system that can put us back into a body or put us back here. There's nothing that can keep us from being wherever we want to be. Or higher self says, I don't need to play this game anymore, just packs its bags and moves on. The breakaway threshold, who knows what that exactly means, but that's kind of what I'm saying. I don't know, of course, exactly what that means, but it means I'll just say it's a win. We've done everything we need to do here. There's nothing more we can do, and we're out of here at death. Okay, that's the best way to put it. So one of the person that starts to understand who they really are and their spiritual self, the dot goes up and up and up and up, breaks way through the breakaway threshold, just continues to go up. Now the other dot wrote like my father, who just will put on the news to see how many cases there are in the Philadelphia area, and that's very, very low at the bottom of the y-axis. Now there's a little line between, the highest evolution of what somebody's supposed to do and what like my father believing every bit of the news and just following the mainstream. And he tells me a couple months ago how Amazon is so wonderful. Oh my gosh, it's so, you can order something and then 2 days, Amazon is so wonderful. Sometimes I like the convenience of getting something too, but I'm never going to praise it. So there's a line between the two, and it says videos, and it's what we do in the truth community. So it's if you remember nothing other of this presentation other than this is what I would want to leave you. If you watch a video and you would say to yourself, is this helping me gain power? And gaining power to break through the threshold, the dotted line. So, in a way, if you're watching a video, well, what's a good example? I'll give you an example. I don't. Somebody sent this to me yesterday, and this is an example, in my opinion, of what not to do. Although these graduated whatever can lead to higher spiritual truths if the person progresses, if they can get off the farm, if they're not allured by it and sucked in by it. Somebody sent me a documentary I never heard of called, I think it was called Monopoly. And so-and-so's the guy's name or whoever this guy is, and it's well presented, and it talks about Event 201, and it talks about how if you look at it's just a small number of corporations behind everything. And of course, and if you look at what I've said years ago, where did all the old money go? It didn't go anywhere. The old money still exists, it's just in the shadows. The Bill Gates of the world are paupers. Their money, Carlos Slim and even Bezos at 200 and some billion, that's nothing compared to the old money of Astor or Vanderbilt or Harriman or Morgan or Rothschild or Rockefeller. Talked about how if Rockefeller just put his money in the bank after the split up of Standard Oil, it would be 1.2, 1.5 trillion today, just literally in the bank. Missed every trend, no stock investments, it would be in the trillions. So this documentary called Monopoly is talking about the same type of thing. Okay, now as you're watching it, keep asking yourself, it's talking about the all-powerful elite, those that run the world with power from the shadows. And just simple question, is this video helping me gain power? Is this video keeping me stagnant, or is it actually pushing me downward? And as much truth is basically in that video, you could say from a first grade level, the most important question, it fails miserably, that video. This video that talks about the elite and the real power in the world is in the shadows and all that, it actually is removing power from you, from the people watching it that aren't like having discussions like we're having here. I think, oh, this dark cabal runs the world and they're so powerful, and people watching that at lower levels in the truth pursuit think, oh, it's so hopeless. And the cabal and the Khazarians and they just feel powerless. It makes them feel powerless. So the dotted line goes what's it from Sling Blade? I drop down and go ... What's that scene where he says, Randy, get the hell out of here, Randy. We ain't got no band. I drop down ... The ... It's going towards the breakaway threshold. Then you watch all these videos about the all-powerful elite, and you feel hopeless. And then your power level drops down. And that's what 95% of the videos on YouTube are designed to do. Everything like this, even though it seems to be incredible truth, that's why Alex Jones tells you about all this stuff. And Glenn Beck will give his chalkboard breakdowns about, look at the George Soros Foundation and all its connections, and here's how Ferguson tied in, and all the money, and it's yin and yang. If you push these people up on high, then it by yin and yang, and then it must push you lower. If you put these people up on a pedestal, it must push you lower. So I'm not picking on this Monopoly documentary. 95% of the truth videos, 95% of what I probably put out between 2010 and 2015 or 16 was taking the bait, was doing the wrong thing. But at least we broke out of it, or we're breaking out of it. We're now understanding what all this truth or nonsense is for in this revelation of the method. So I don't mean to be too complicated, guys. It's very simple. Watch a video later today and just literally write it on your table. Write it on your wall, spray paint. Is this video helping me increase my power? Understand who I really am. And we'll talk, what up or down, what does that mean? Because that's the most important part. Now, almost all videos on YouTube and BitChute, the scare tactics that come out of BitChute, it's designed to push your power down. And if it's really designed to do that, then it gives incredible validity to this chart that this is what the reality system is for. And it's our job to put ourselves in a certain state above the breakaway threshold before the day of our death. That's pretty simple. In my opinion, it is going to be that simple. Anybody that comes, I don't want to mention any names, and this is some channels I watched a long time ago. It's so complicated. The presentations are so brilliant, but it's so, if you're watching somebody in like 5, 6, 7 videos, you just can't really follow, and it's all over the place. If you believe that's the way out, have at it. Absolutely is not. Some of the things I've jotted down below the main title, Give It Away Now. You can't read it, I'm sure most of you can. I wrote, I can't tell if I'm a kingpin or a pauper. That was from Give It Away Now, the Chili Peppers. Yeah, the whole reality system, the whole reality system is to get you to not understand yourself. I can't tell if I'm a kingpin or a pauper. Well, yeah, if the first level is can't tell if you're rich or poor, well, spiritually rich or poor. The reality is designed so people don't understand that. That line absolutely helped confirm what I believed about Give It Away Now, plus the 3 times presented times 3. I'm no expert in their gematria. I just kind of notice patterns. What exactly that means or why it's presented that way, I don't know. I'm not a gematria person, but it's absolutely, all the gematria is embedded in this reality system for a reason. There's no doubt about that. So then again, the B side of Give It Away, remember, is Soul to Squeeze. Come on, like that by itself, that's all you need to see. Then I wrote under that Duke and Duke $1 bet. And I thought it's very similar, this whole conversation, to the Duke and Duke $1 bet. You can take like that third level of that spiritual meaning out of Trading Places. And that whoever produced that Trading Places, he kind of, I forget his name, he positioned himself, I don't believe he's any hero, he positioned himself as somebody, that was on our side, who was against the Fed, and he was against Roundup, and he was, I forget his name, but, he's also serving a system role. There's no way you're a Hollywood director and producer, you work with Eddie Murphy, Trading Places, and then you just become an advocate for truthers. It's just, the reality doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. That's why I don't buy, Eric Clapton's coming out for us. Sorry. Who knows why he's doing what he's doing? I don't buy it. Again, I haven't looked in the Eric Clapton thing, closely. But Sir Van Morrison has a truther album out. Van Morrison, every single song is somehow like a truther song, but then you look, and Van Morrison is Sir Van Morrison, I believe, somehow knighted. You don't, like I said a few months back, I'm sorry, you don't get knighted by the Queen and then just go against it and just, he's causing trouble and he's talking truth. Nope. For some reason, in some way, it's all by design. And if somebody's screaming at me going, well, if Van Morrison's talking truth, how is that helping them, Matt? I'm not prepared to talk about that now. I don't know. They operate, around 3 corners at once. It's very complicated how they lay this reality trick down. They're worthy adversaries, to put it mildly. I don't know, but it's never first level. Okay, why did they put a tire at the bottom? I mean, why would they do stupid stuff like that? It's all. We'll talk about it some other time. I'm not prepared to talk about it. But Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Duke and Duke $1 bet. What happened in that movie? One Life was at the way, at least the reality measures success, was at the top. Winthorpe, Louis Winthorpe, and then he was destroyed. The $1 bet was with Duke and Duke. It was Mortimer and Randolph and Mortimer, and then they took a life that was destroyed. Eddie Murphy, I have legs, I can walk, I can see, and then they brought him to the top. Well, it has to be the metaphor, the analogy could be, you could take it spiritually. You could take the retrocausality language meaning out of it. Then if they made a movie about spiritually where Eddie Murphy finds his spiritual self and he just goes off in the movie and to sit in the lotus position and meditate, that wouldn't sell tickets, man. They have to make it, the materialism has to be the theme of the movie. And at the end, should we have lobster or the cracked crab, Coleman? Can't we have both? And he's got the 18-year-old girl. So it has to be about things that the audience will relate to, but that there could be a message there. One life, bring it up to the top. Another life, it was at the top, destroy it. I'm taking a spiritual message away. It's not presented in the movie because it can't be presented in the movie. It would sell 5 tickets. Five yogis would go see it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't sell anything. But the way this retrocausality language, anybody screaming at me going, Matt, they meant to put a spiritual message? No, they probably didn't. That's how this works. Aaron Russo, I guess, is his name. Whoever produced the movie, the movie studio, did they even know a spiritual message was in it? And maybe I'm misinterpreting, but see, if I'm getting the spiritual message, that's all that matters. They don't know what's in it. If I'm getting a spiritual message from a Chili Peppers album, Anthony Kiedis isn't aware of it, but I can still get the message. That's incredibly uplifting that there are rules in this reality that work like that work at levels that are just mind-boggling. It's that by itself. You should take your dotted line, the power, and just move it way up. So, Duke and Duke $1 bet. This reality here is a game of some kind. Of, hey, before I'll redo the last conversation before incarnating. Hey, man, you want to do the real hard incarnation? I heard about that Earth. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard as shit, man, and people get lost there. Now, they can never take all your essence of your spiritual self, these creeps, but they'll feed on the power. They'll feed on you. You get stuck there for like 1,000,000 years or whatever it may be. It's like, oh, man, but if you win that, if you go in there, man, and you win that, then, oh boy, look at the rewards and look what can happen and look how great it is if you can win that. It's like, man, let's go into that Earth thing. Let's win that. It's like a game. It really is. It's over $1. I lost. I won. I bet we couldn't all get rich and put you all in the poorhouse at the same time. Would you win? $1. It's that simple. To me, and then all the surrounding evidence comes just flooding in, to support these types of notions. At least to me, it does. We'll talk about some of that evidence. Remember way back when I talked about everything presented, like when we look into conspiracy or deception, everything's like a triple layer conspiracy. So the first grade truthers are meant to see something, the second grade truthers, but the beauty of it is the yin and yang. Like everything, not everything, but like everything in media and movies and music is like a triple layer spiritual message. The yin moves, the yang has to move. They take big bites of the shit sandwich, then we're going to see all of this because it has to work this way. We demand it works this way. And we're getting the information as they take big bites of the shit sandwich. So back to everything's a triple layer conspiracy. The best example, or the easiest example, is the Titanic. So level 1, you have what the Nat Geo special, and they're going to find the wreckage and the ruins, and oh, isn't it wonderful, the grandiose nature of the Titanic. And my father watches the documentary and believes every bit of the Titanic story, and there's no conspiracy at all, and you conspiracy people are just ridiculous, Matt, how you do your alpophenia and you find shit that's not there. And he believes the Nat Geo Smithsonian special about how grand the ship was well, how could it be so grand if it had a twin sister that's been sailing around for 6 months? That don't make no sense. Why was it a big deal when it already had that? So the reality has to put a bunch of stuff out so the official story breaks down. We know that, whether it be Titanic or anything else. So then the first level of conspiracy is about, I guess for Titanic, it would be about the insurance money, the first level conspiracy. Oh, Matt, what they did is, and all this evidence exists, you can spend years researching it, how the Olympic was a piece of shit, had 2 accidents and smashed into a Royal Navy ship, and who knows if any of this is even real. It doesn't matter. But it was a piece of shit. It lists to the port or to the stern. So they simply they were twins. So they just took the name Olympic, they painted it on Titanic, they flipped the names, they sent the Titanic out to sink, which was really the piece of shit Olympic that all this damage. They sunk it on purpose, and then they got $10 million. The White Star Line got $10 million of insurance money. And when you research that, everything falls in line. That story makes 1,000 times more sense than the official story. But then there's another level of conspiracy the reality has to give with Titanic. It's about the Fed. It has to, oh yeah, that's right. The Jekyll Island was about to take place, the establishment of the Fed, and it just so happened, of course, that Astor, Guggenheim, and Strauss, the 3 billionaires that were not for the Fed. And why would billionaires not be for the Fed? Yeah, that makes sense. The 3 billionaires, see, they weren't for the Fed, so then they sunk it just to get those guys. How'd that backroom conversation go down? We're gonna sink the entire ship and all the passengers just to get those three sons of bitches that won't go along with our Fed Jekyll Island stuff? Yeah. See, we're gonna tell him that J.P. Morgan's gonna get on too, but then he's gonna just get off at the last second, or he's not gonna board. And then the other conspiracy that there was a Vanderbilt on board and he was told to not get on. What's left is Kathy Bates and the bastards that are against the Fed. And we'll sink them. We're going to sink them, and we're going to sink all those innocents too? Yeah, just sink them all, man, because we need the Fed. And Astor would have stopped it. Ridiculous. So we get into it, I told him I don't take the sections out of the book. I believed more in that second grade conspiracy when I was writing about the endless fraud. But I see from the book's perspective, the endless fraud has to be in there, the hundreds and hundreds of pages, for you to come out the other side and say no real reality world could pull this off. Everything can't have 3 degrees of conspiracy. No real world could act like this, could operate this way, giving evidence for each side, giving evidence no matter what conspiracy you latch on to, whether it be the anti-Fed people or the switching of the insurance money, the switching of the names, the Olympic and for the insurance money, no matter what conspiracy road you go down, the reality will feed you everything you need to, 1, believe in it, and 2, stay distracted by it. So then you have to keep looking to break out of the distraction chains. So, that's the Titanic, but everything works that way. Everything is a triple layer conspiracy. Everything. And at each layer, the reality artificially will give you everything you need so you spend the rest of your life looking into it. That's impossible. No real world could pull that off. But then why doesn't the yin and yang has to apply on the good side? We have, I don't know, I'm just looking at my chart again, whatever, back to the Chili Peppers, give it away. You're taking some sort of spiritual message as to how to shield your power, not give it away to the creeps, that therefore rising yourself up closer to the breakaway threshold. Did Anthony Kiedis meant to put that in there? No. Did the producers or directors or Capitol Records, whoever did it, creeps like David Geffen, did they meant to put that in there? No. But it gets in there somehow. That's the beauty that gives this reality system away. It gives the way the reality is structured. If you didn't know who you are, then you know now. I mean, this positive message can't be embedded in so many things, and it's just every time we turn around. I'll give you more examples. I wrote just a few things down here. 2 different examples I wrote under Duke and Duke. If anybody's like, you don't need to see this chart at all. I wrote He-Man. It just came to me as I was doing the chart. He-Man. And that Kevin Smith rekindling of the stupid He-Man thing a few months ago. What does he do? He's this little nobody, this 16 or 18-year-old kid, some wimpy kid. But then he pulls this, and he says, "I have the power." Snap. I got the power. It's in everything. And he becomes this all-powerful thing, the lightning, the He-Man, and he's nothing before that. He's just some kid creeping around the castle. He-Man, I have the power. Then on the other side, there's a spiritual message in there, in my opinion. There is. It's in everything. Then you have John, on the opposite side, the exact opposite side, this was also in a recent video I watched. John Lennon coming forth just before his death, saying, "You don't like." Paraphrasing. I don't know what he said. He's like, "You don't really know who runs things here. The people that runs things here are like all powerful psychopaths." Or I don't know what he said. But then in the video, it was like, "Oh, John Lennon came out about the power structure, and then he was dead." All part of the reality script here. You believe these all-powerful creeps, oh, the cabal, then that, as you push them up on the pedestal, you metaphysically reduce yourself down away from the swing out sister threshold dotted line here. So they love the names elite and all powerful, and that's what we struggled for years. What was that Woodrow Wilson quote about? Why would they give away truth like that? Well, it's crystal clear why now. The Woodrow Wilson quote, first, why would, of course a quote gets out into the open because it's exactly what they want to get out, just like Uri and all the rest. I forget what the quote says, but something like, the highest people in business and the highest people in politics talk about a power here that's, I'm going to butcher it, but it's the Woodrow Wilson, President of the United States, I guess, right around World War I. It's so powerful, so all-encompassing, so pervasive that when the top leaders in business and politics complain about this power, they complain about it in a whisper. So I even have it in the book. Like, well, what's this quote for? Why is a president saying there is this power here that's more powerful than anybody can imagine, that's way above business interests and politics and corporate interests, this incredible power in the shadows? Why is Woodrow Wilson saying this? Why is this truth coming out? And now we know. Because I say it definitively. I believe this. I hope some of this resonates with you. I hope it does. I don't mean to be too definitive, like I know it all. I don't. But now we know, because if you believe this incredible power structure exists, that by definition has to be, per the yin and yang, then you believe you're nothing. It pushes you down. It's a much better exercise when dealing or talking about the creeps, whether it's right or not. When like a Tony comes along and says that the Melvin Peas, Matt, this is a different type of incarnation than you. He calls them sequential incarnations, and he calls you, related to your higher self, a simultaneous incarnation. He's saying they're playing it safe. Everything and what he says resonates with me, because everything here is upside down world. Like Levette says, everything is backwards, and everything is backwards. So it would make sense if you're an upside down world and everything is backwards, that the ones here that appear to have the most money, prestige, power, influence, when you back up far enough, are actually the lowly little worms, the lowest ones, spiritually, you could say. So he's saying they're playing it safe. They have past memories. They're in love with this reality system. They're afraid to take the leap we did, coming in Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind kid. So what is this reality will show that, we're in this truth community, we're all struggling. We're all losing our jobs. And then you have Bezos, and, it appears they're on high and you're low. No, everything's backwards. In what matters spiritually or anything else, there are low lives. Low. And if you back up far enough, we're way more advanced. There's no question about that. I'm not just saying that to make myself feel better. Way, way more advanced. So you have to walk outside and carry yourself like this. And you have to understand when something will pop up in this reality system and try to take your power. Like you don't even have to walk out your front door. Your first thing you do on Facebook, it'll try to take your power. It'll try to get you to believe you're nothing. It'll try to have you walk down the wrong path. Kevin Costner in the first scene of the movie versus the last 20 minutes of the movie. It will get in your business all day long to get you to not understand who you are, so you just simply go through the breakaway, the swing out sister breakthrough threshold. It's that simple. It really is that simple. I mean, I'm pushing an hour giving this presentation, but first we got to a half page. Then we have a simple reality chart, rings, eccentric rings in one little piece of paper. And then this. I think it's this simple. I'm not just presenting this to make myself feel better, or man, he's a dummy. It's really complicated, and he's just too dumb to figure it out. So he always has to put it into a first grade chart. Believe what you want. Every bit of every fiber in my being tells me this shit's true. It's not going to be on the day of our death. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, it was so complicated. It's going to take 1,000,000 lifetimes to figure it out. I guarantee everything inside of you is screaming that you can just picture the moment of your death, understanding your spiritual self. You'll say, that's what it was? With us? That's all it was? All these, and you could see it for what it is. You could see right through it. Look at all these creeps running around and getting in my business. And this segment over here was just trying to pull out anxiety from me, stress, worry, fear, anger, and covet and jealousy. I was jealous of my best friend because of his young bride. And oh my, what a joke. And hopefully you're having this conversation saying, thank God when I got into my 30s or 40s, I got out of that shit. And I just started to see or understand who I really was. And you could see that every time I walked out my front door, it's just like a hook on a worm on a hook trying to get me to do this and get me to believe in this and get me to covet this and get me to believe this is a definition of success. It's like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Then that leads me right back to the truth drop in the XXX Vin Diesel diner scene. No doubt about it. That message comes across in the diner scene. It's one of my favorites. The baited worm on the hook everywhere in this reality, getting you to have you pick the wrong things and make the wrong choices. But then when we start seeing through it, what do we say? Just like Vin Diesel said, and the performances were terrible. The Bobby Wobbies and the Governor Connollys from his bedside to the interview with his wife is there with him, and it was so and the performances were terrible, and they're probably meant to be terrible. Part of the rules here, it's like the creeps probably complained when they looked at the contractual rules. Well, we gotta give this away to them. Can't we just do the best we can and suck the energy and suck the loosh? Well, yeah, you can. That's the role you creeps are going to play. But you do see, per contract here, the performances have to be terrible. And some of the way things are executed, like inflated tires, that has to be terrible. And eventually a small group might actually wake up to it. And then they're going to starve you of the loosh. You ain't going to be able to suck from those people no more. We got to abide by these rules. Yeah. Yeah, you creeps didn't build this reality system. We're going to let you in there to play a role. And you can be the big fish in the small pond. You can get whacked off on the back of a speedboat, and you can do all this stuff, and you can control corporations and make HBO specials about yourselves called Succession and all this bullshit. You can be big fish because you're not ready to take the leap that these people are ready to take. They come in Tommy. They come in with nothing. They don't know nothing about themselves. They got experience and understand it on their own. They don't come in with past connections and bloodline connections and understanding a bit of who they are and how to manipulate the stock market, which is that's an oxymoron. How do you manipulate something that's every bit of it is manipulated from the start? So these people come in deaf, dumb, and blind, man. So they got, if they win, they cross that threshold, they get the biggest reward. You jerks are playing it safe. You see how that works? I'm not saying to the creeps. I'm saying that's probably when whoever laid the contractual rules down on the creeps probably said that. And they said, that's a meeting adjourned. Get out of here. Go down and control that reality system called Earth and just pretend you're a big fish in a small pond. Yeah. Let's see. So you can even have your own private Idaho where you can take your stars off of your private concerts and fake deaths. You can even have all of that. And somebody somewhere listening saying, this guy made a lot of sense through a lot of this. And I just found out I wasted an hour. Okay. And, whoever said that, you haven't looked at this crazy, the world, if you think the world is crazy and wacky to a certain degree, times it by 1,000. And that is what we're dealing with here. Nothing is off the table. But I would hate to have somebody having listened to this saying, this guy's making a lot of sense. And then he's like saying David Bowie's off at a private part of the world that doesn't exist on a map, and Michael Jackson's playing tonight. And look, I'm not apologizing for anything anymore. It's fun to ponder that stupid stuff every so often. We'll do that. We'll do a whole video on, I'll call it Their Own Private Idaho, which the EpiPen. You need an EpiPen if you have an allergic reaction to shellfish. The EpiPen island issue. An EpiPen bought an EpiPen when you have an allergic reaction to fish. The EpiPen private island. That was probably a drop. Well, where is this island? That's where the creeps go, where Michael Jackson and Prince play together. They're still alive. Sorry. Now I'm just getting dumb and goofy. But guys, I think the principle of this chart is sound. I hope we'll see if you in the comment section, if you agree. Power on the x-axis, time on the right, on the y, and you spend your whole life taking its fruit, believing what it tells you, redefining standards of success, trying to look to it for applause and awards. Your dotted line just goes straight across. Your dotted line, you a loser. Dotted line don't go near the swing out sister threshold. And then, at the bottom, it kind of loops back. It goes recycling, or who knows what happens. I'm sorry to the no consequences people, but if you just observe reality from far enough away, just by completely getting it wrong here, completely removing your power every chance you get, that there's no consequence at all whatsoever to doing that. Does that make any sense? Does that resonate? Somebody that's 100 times worse than my father in this regard. He's a good person. I love him. But in terms of this, he has bowed down to authority his entire life. At every turn, he has given his power away. So the no consequences people are going to tell me, there's just no issue there. Well, what's the point? Well, Matt, there is no. He incarnated here. He didn't get the level up times a million some of you guys are going to get. But there's no consequence. Okay. Then why are they always looking to manipulate him, influence him, get the energy, the loosh, the anger, the anxiety, the stress, the worry? Okay. I'm not saying his soul can be given away. But I'm just saying there's probably a middle ground consequence, a meeting place between your no consequence and maybe where I push too much consequence. There's probably a place where that meets in the middle. Anyway, thanks for watching, but who can see shit with a shit-ass graphic like this? Thanks for listening.